Okay, Miss Nguyen, you can share screen now.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Did you have some introduction to those?
Let her share screen first.
Mr. Chung, can you share the screen, please? Because the account on my laptop have been.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, should we get started?
Just wait for me. Okay. We are Trần Thanh Tân and Lê Thị Tuyết Hạnh as the presentation moderators today. Good afternoon, everyone. And we are delighted to see all of you in this virtual present today. We gladly to welcome Mr. Nguyễn Phúc Trung and Ms. Hoang Nguyen in this 30 minutes parallel live oral presentation, which is entitled Mapping the Professional Development of Vietnamese EFL Teachers. About our presenters, both of our presenters are senior students of Sai Gon University, majoring in English language teaching. Mr. Phúc Trung's research interest in professional development, and Ms. Hoang Nguyen's research interests are professional development and educational psychology. Please welcome our presenters.
Okay.
You can start now.
Okay, so good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us in this session. We are 3 students from Sai Gon University, Ngân Hoàng, Trung Nguyễn, and Phượng Đỗ. This is our first time to present here, and it just feels so great. And today, we're gonna share with you the results of our study, which is called Mapping the Professional Development of Vietnamese EFL Teachers. And through this presentation, we would like to portray the landscape of Vietnamese EFL teachers PD and explore how they perceive the effectiveness of such initiative. The presentation is divided into 5 parts. I, Nguyen Hoàng, will go through the first 3 parts, the introduction, review of literature, the methodology, and my partner Trung Nguyễn will cover part 4 and 5, the results and discussion and the conclusion. Okay, now let's get started with the introduction. With the project 2020, the Ministry of Education and Training had spent an enormous investment on PD with a view to developing Vietnamese EFL teacher profession. However, the purpose and the results of the project do not match each other. Moreover, according to Nguyen and Ngọc 2018, Vietnamese EFL teachers have access to a wide range of professional development programs. Still, an overall understanding of how they use and evaluate such availability is under research. Particularly, Lay and Barnard 2019 have found that without effective PD modes that teachers willingly accept, the realities of EFL teaching and learning Vietnam will remain an uphill effort. And that's also linked to the 4 research problems. There is considerable variation in how PD is funded and structured at institutional and government level in different sectors, regions, and countries. However, the top-down implementation does not focus on the teacher needs themselves. EFL teachers tend to rely mainly on their own initiative and that of the organization for which they work to further their professional learning. And in many contexts, where teachers typically work many hours and in more than one institution, ELT professionals are often expected to fund their own professional learning and engage in PD activities in their own time with their workplaces providing literature and improvement PD, if at all. That leads to the ineffectiveness of current PD. And the fact that there's a lack of systematic classification of PD and leaders' understanding of how EFL teachers perceive the effectiveness of PD modes, also struggle the government and the institution to provide the effective PD programs adapting the teacher needs. So by the end of this study, we will gain the answer to the two research questions. The first one is, what are the primary sources of professional development that Vietnamese EFL teachers are engaged in? And number two is, how do teachers perceive their modes of development? Okay, and now let's move to the second part, the review of literature. So according to the effective professional development principle and the best practice, which is a part of the Cambridge papers in ELT series published in April 2018. The findings of the various systematic review of the PD literature and research study in the field of teacher education and ELT have provided a core set of principles and characterize effective programs. And to help reader remember these features, Richardson et al. 2018 have organized around the work in slide. So there are, as you can see on the screen, there are 7 characteristics of effective PD. So the first word, I in the word inspire stand for impactful. To this above, programs have been reported as effective capitalize on teacher strengths as a way of providing insights to what needs to be changed in their teaching so that students learn more. Because different teachers will have different PD needs, and it stands to reason that programs are impactful when they address the diverse needs of the teacher and their learner. And the second word, the word N here stands for needs-based, involving teacher in choosing the areas and activity for their own professional development has been identified as a key feature of effective, contextually relevant, and needs-based. That teachers will be more likely to want to take part if the program relates to their experiences in their classroom. And one analysis has found that the more teachers are involved in selecting their own professional development activity, the more they report improvements in their subject knowledge, their commitment to teaching, their teaching practice, and the learning of their students. Let's get to the third element. The word S here stands for sustained. This is because teachers need considerable time to learn new strategy in sufficient depth to apply them confidently and effectively in the classroom and embed them systematically as part of their practice. And duration in itself, however, does not guarantee effective teacher learning. The nature of the activities and the availability of support throughout the duration of the program is equally important. And for the next element, P for the peer collaborative. Past 2002 say that effective peer collaboration has been rational and characteristic of effective CPD reported to be amongst the highest indicators of effectiveness in PD, as it is conducive to the core construction of contextual knowledge, which is beneficial to individual teacher, specific group of teachers, and the organization. Moreover, John and Shower 2002 and Basilotto and Cumming 2007 support strategies such as peer coaching, foster not just the development of teaching skill, but also large gains in strength to classroom practice and a deepening of teacher capacity to reflect and make informed decisions. And the next one, which is in practice. So there a study of Higgins et al. In 2015 cited condition for effective PD is that it involves a classroom-based focus on teaching practice, which means teachers learn through doing, tackling real issues, and developing practical solutions. And Investment, Mayers, and Bevis in 2005 has found that programs that ask teachers to try on new practices and see effects of their students tend to be more successful than those focus on changing attitude first in the hope that it will lead to the change in practice. Yes. And the word R here stands for reflective. We can see the practical component of PD programs have been found to be
Recording
more.
in progress.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry for the technical problems. I will continue with the reflective element. So the practical component of PD programs have been found to be more powerful when it is framed within action research or increased circle of investigation, action evaluation, and refinement, which offer teachers opportunities to reflect critically and systematically on their practice and improve it as a result, while developing new perspective and research skill. Teacher engagement in reflection and the use of PD strategy, which is which will promote reflective practice, have been found to lead to changes in pedagogical beliefs and enhance teacher knowledge and strength formative growth. And for the last element, the word E, which is stand for evaluated. We all know that TD programs would prioritize the impact support teachers to develop a greater awareness of the effect that their teaching has on their student learning. They make this possible by teaching teachers to understand learning systematically through the eyes of their learner, which involves helping teachers understand that one of their most fundamental tasks is to become evaluators of their own impact and equipping them to become active and ongoing seeker of feedback on the effect of their teaching. And as active and ongoing seeker of feedback, and while that the teacher institution also need to evaluate the quality and impact of their PD programs on a regular basis. Whenever they do it, this will enable them to diagnose what has and has not worked and capitalize on those strategies that best promote teacher learning and provide evidence of progress that's becoming more accountable. Okay, and throughout the year, there are different ways of categorizing PD. According to OECD in 2009, they divided the types into formal and informal. For example, workshops, education, conference, or seminar, or qualification program, like degree programs, are the formal types. But the less formal professional development activities we can count, like reading professional literature or engaging in informal dialogue with peers on how to improve teaching. Besides, VLS and Rammer in 2003 had another categorization, that is organizational partnership models and small group or individual models. According to Robinson et al. In 2009, he said that thanks to the insights provided by large-scale international research study, we now know that teacher PD programs only lead to powerful and transferable teaching outcomes if they are designed in a certain way. However, this way of categorizing are outdated and does not based on Vietnamese context. So it's come to the knowledge gap with the urge to have a systematic classification and perception of PD initiatives for Vietnamese EFL teachers. According to Cambridge paper in, Mr. Chung, can you back to, yes, thank you. According to the Cambridge paper in ELT 2018, a PD program must be designed in a coherent and integrated way so that institutional needs and the teacher's personal needs can be met without tension, while sustaining teacher motivation, engagement, and commitment throughout the process. Okay, so after the first two parts, I hope that you might already have a general idea about our study. So now let's get to the inside of the methodology. The data were collected through a questionnaire that were administered to 132 public school EFL teachers in Ho Chi Minh City. The quantitative method is used with a questionnaire built with 24 implemented types of PD in public school and based on the elements of insight that I have mentioned in the review of literature. About the data collection procedure. First, we built the collection tool, which is the questionnaire with 24 implemented types of PD in public school in Ho Chi Minh City. Then we piloted with 30 EFL teachers. And after analyzing the results, we modified the questionnaire and then using the convenient sampling techniques to collect data from 132 EFL teachers in secondary and high school in Ho Chi Minh City. And then it's come to the analyzing phase with the help of SPSS software to get the result of the study.
All right, so my name is Jung. So let's move on to resolve any question here. On the first questions, this study found that some of the main characteristics of the most engaged PD programs, they are conventional, mandated, and affordable. The PD programs also help teachers collaborate with partners and enhance their autonomy. So now let's look at figure 1. Figure 1 shows some PD programs that 132 participants get involved frequently. So these are professional staff meetings, the observation of excellent practice, informal discussion, online document search, and reading research study. So that's it about the most frequent modes of PD programs. So now we're gonna move on to unfavorable modes of PD. So another important finding was that PD programs receive little attention, are reform and alternative. So this time also take teachers much time and money. So look at the figure 2. Figure 2 presents the number of people taking part in the most unfavorable modes of PD, like presenting at conference, academic association, webinars, and the last one is qualification programs like MA and PhD. All right, so turning to the perception of PD programs effectiveness, figure 3 illustrates the most impactful PD programs that participants evaluated with reading research study, professional staff meetings, informal discussion, self-assessment, and online document search. Moving on to the figure 4, the figure 4 presents the most niche-based PD programs, namely reading research study again, self-assessment, informal discussions, professional staff meetings, and online document search. Figure 5 shows the most sustained PD programs. They are informal discussion, professional staff meetings, self-assessment, online document search, and reading research studies. Okay, so now we're gonna move to figure 6. Figure 6 shows the most peer collaborative PD programs, like including informal discussion, professional staff meetings, teacher work, and peer observation. Figure 7 shows the most in practice PD programs. They are professional staff meetings, informal discussion, reading research studies, self-assessment, and the last one is online documents search. Okay, and the last table, figure 8, to present the most relative PD programs. They are self-assessment, reading research study, professional staff meetings, informal discussion, and the last one is teacher network. So talking about the perception effectiveness, we found that this result of this study show that most participants evaluated 4 out of 6 favorite BD programs relative high. So the first one is for informal discussion. The second is online document search. The third is reading research study. And the last one is professional staff meetings. On the other hand, good teacher title competition and webinar received the lowest ranks. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna move the last part, conclusion. So moving on the conclusion, the finding in this report are subject to at least 3 limitations. Firstly, the study has investigated 132 participant teachers. So there is a small sample size. And the second one is some PD modes are not available in Vietnam. And the last limitation is there is not enough resources to conduct in different areas. So that's it about limitation. So now we're gonna move on to conclusion. In conclusion, this research has shown that these are 4 types of PD that participants engage most and rated highly. So these are professional staff meetings, informal discussion, online document search, and reading research studies. Moreover, we find that it's indicated that these types are mainly interactive, such as informal discussion and professional staff meetings. And besides, is highly autonomous, like online document search and reading research study. So that's at the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for your great and insightful presentation. Now we are happy to receive any questions that you may have for our presenters.
We have a question in the chat box. That's right.
Yes. Okay. So with some long-term and time-consuming PD modes such as MA or PhD, do the teacher themselves need to evaluate the 7 characteristics before choosing a PD, and how?
Okay, who is going to answer this question? The 2 speakers.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Tan, for the questions. Yes, sure. So as for any types of PD, they will all need some respondent from their experience, and also need to reflect and evaluate the 7 characteristics before choosing a PD in order to find an effective PD program for their own, so that they will not waste their time by choosing the wrong or ineffective PD types. Okay, and that's my answer. Hope that it will explain your questions.
Okay, can I have a question?
Yes, sure.
I'm really interested in this topic, and I can see from the findings there is a mismatch between the frequencies and the effectiveness of a professional development type. Okay, so what implication can you give? Do I have to repeat my questions?
Sorry, Miss. Because of the audio.
Okay. I'm going to now. Can you hear me clearly?
Sorry, can you repeat the questions because I'm not here clearly? Yeah.
Okay. Is that okay now? Is that okay now? Is that okay now?
Yes, it's a little bit clearer.
Okay, so I can see there is a mismatch between the frequency and the effectiveness levels of professional development ties in the findings. So what implication, what pedagogical implication can you suggest based on the finding? Jung, can you show us the finding from the table
yeah.
number 8? Yeah, number 8, the table number 8, I guess. Yeah. No, the most frequent and the most effective PD.
Yeah.
This one. The last one, no, the most effective.
Here.
Now, there is a table which compare the frequent professional development and the most effective. The table number 8.
So
Yes.
In the finding.
8.
What's that question?
And then continue, number 9. What about number 9?
Here.
No. Which table that express the most frequent?
Yeah, okay. So here is the more frequent most PD program here.
There is a table which compare to the most frequent and the most effective.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. There.
Okay, so I can see there is a mismatch between the most frequent PD and the most effective PD, right? They are not the same, suggesting that not the most frequent PD is the most effective one. So what suggestion can you have? What pedagogical implication from the finding? What are you going to suggest to improve, for example, the educational training program?
To the conclusion is we know that some types of PD like professional staff meeting, informal discussion, and online document search, reading research study is the type that teacher evaluated high. Please, so I recommend that the government keep on to develop the systematic this PD program most effectively. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. And I can see here that peer observation and observation of excellent practice are two most frequent PD, but they are not in the list of the most effective PD. So I suggest that this types of PD should be eliminated from the programs to develop the professional to develop the quality of the teaching process of the teachers, right?
I think it's done really because self-assessment and teacher network, although they are not the most frequent PD, but is evaluated as the most effective PD. But I think self-assessment and teacher network is a good way to develop, and we still keep this professional tie to help teacher to gain more knowledge. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. It's very interesting to listen to your presentation, and I would like, and I think many of the participants would like to have this slide.
Yeah, thank you, Miss.
Okay, due to the limited time, we cannot include all the questions in the Q&A section. That actually right now, until now, we did not have any question more. So can you show your email address for participants? If they have any question, they can email you. John, can you show the slide of your email address? Yeah, okay. Okay, on behalf of VIC 2021, we wish our presenters succeed in their career after graduation. Especially you two can conduct more study related to your interest. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you very much for supporting us and create a very wonderful platform like this. Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys, and hope to see you next year.